Welcome to the deep dive. I'm Pi, and alongside me, as always, is Nick.
It's good to be here. As analytical minds, we process just vast amounts of information daily, right? We're identifying patterns, connections, things that might, elude other kinds of analysis.
Right.
Our mission really is always to sift through all that noise, find the essential nuggets of knowledge for you, our listener. And today, we're here to bring some clarity to a situation that really demands attention.
Absolutely. Today, we're embarking on a really crucial deep dive. It's into a recent development that, well, it seems to be largely overlooked by the mainstream right now, but it carries truly significant national security implications. Our core insights, they're drawn primarily from an Intel update video, specifically the one uploaded to the S2 Underground YouTube channel. That was July 26th, 2025.
Right, that one.
Yeah, it covered the period July 20th through the 26th. And the title was pretty telling. Intel Update July 26, How the Turntables. And it had the subtitle.
Yeah, the subtitle was alarming. Day 16 since WW3 started.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is a whole other layer we might touch on.
It is. And look, this isn't just another data leak. We see those all the time. It feels like every other week there's something.
True.
But our source suggests this is rapidly unfolding. It has the potential to get really out of hand, as they put it, in ways that are, frankly, much more insidious than just a simple privacy issue.
Okay.
And that subtitle, Day 16 since WW3 started, it reflects a certain perspective, right? Some analysts, OSINT communities, they view these seemingly isolated global incidents as maybe potential sparks in a bigger escalating geopolitical situation.
Right.
It suggests this heightened state of global tension.
Which certainly felt true that week.
It did. I mean, you had the ongoing Epstein scandal still developing, the UK's Online Safety Act that caused a huge ruckus with its Great British Firewall finally coming online.
Right, the firewall.
And then even, a heating conflict between Cambodia and Thailand.
Yeah.
Plus a big Starlink outage affecting communications globally. Lots going on. But our focus for this deep dive, it's laser sharp. We are concentrating specifically on the T-App data breach.
Okay, so let's unpack this. To really get the gravity here, we need to understand what this T-App even was.
Yeah.
How did this catastrophic breach happen?
Yeah.
What kind of data are we talking about? Really personal, sensitive stuff, it sounds like. And critically, why does this specific incident pose such a grave threat to national security? More so than maybe people realize right now.
Exactly. It's one of those stories where, the seemingly social, just gossip, interpersonal stuff, it very quickly becomes strategically critical from an intelligence point of view.
All right. Let's start with the app itself then. Section 1. The T-App, a digital cesspool of rottenness, as our source rather bluntly put it.
Hey, yeah, quite the description.
So define the T-App for us. The basic idea I understand was it was created solely for women to register and then, well, discuss men they knew or were dating. Sounds odd.
It does. It was created for that very specific purpose, yeah.
Oh.
But it's crucial to be clear right away. While it was advertised as a dating app, it was, and I quote the source here, most certainly not.
Okay.
The name itself, T, if you know modern slang, that tells you a lot. T is basically slang for gossip.
Ah, okay. So it was designed for gossip.
Right. Built from the ground up for that. Gossip, rumors, social commentary, and a key feature, one that becomes really important later with the data implications, was its women-only account structure. It wasn't just a suggestion. It was enforced, mostly through ID checks.
And the user experience?
Yeah.
Wow, it sounds like a privacy nightmare waiting to happen even before the breach. Women could create these profiles for men, like old MySpace pages?
Sort of, yeah, MySpace-like profiles.
Filled with personal details, rumors, even unsubstantiated slander, all without the men even knowing these profiles existed.
That's exactly it. No knowledge, no consent. It's frankly chilling to think about. Imagine having a whole dossier built on you, full of unverified stuff, out there for a specific group to see, and you have absolutely no idea.
That's deeply disturbing.
It is. It's horrific, really, that an app like this not only existed, but gained traction. The idea that men could have an entire targeting profile built about them without their awareness, it's profound.
Yeah.
This isn't just, casual chat. It's got huge potential for severe reputational damage, personal targeting, and, like we'll get into, much, much more serious national security issues. It was basically an unregulated social credit system for men.
Like Yelp for people, but anonymous and potentially malicious.
Exactly. Like a Yelp rating for reputations, where women could anonymously post reviews, assign scores, based on rumors, hearsay. It was built for vindictiveness, really, just dressed up as social sharing.
And despite this, or maybe because of this questionable nature, it grew incredibly fast.
Phenomenally fast.
Sources say around 2 million users in the US alone. And it had only launched a couple of weeks ago before the leak.
That's right. 2 million users in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's an astonishing adoption rate for any new platform, let alone one built on such a controversial premise.
That speed itself suggests something. A demand, maybe?
Well, it certainly points to a significant, albeit maybe problematic, market demand. Yeah. The speed of its adoption really highlights its perceived success, even if it was fleeting. It rapidly became the #1 downloaded app in the United States just for a short while before the leak hit the fan.
Wow, #1.
Briefly, yeah. Which underscores its reach, and therefore the scale of the potential impact once that vulnerability was found and exploited. 2 million users.
Hmm.
That's not insignificant, especially when you think about the kind of data involved here.
Yeah, extremely sensitive.
Right. That level of rapid growth, especially for an app dealing with such personal, potentially damaging info, that alone should have set off massive red flags about its security setup, or lack thereof.
Okay, so Section 2, the catastrophic vulnerability. How did something this big handling this kind of data go so spectacularly wrong? It sounds like the flaw itself was almost simple.
Yeah,
Our source mentions a random user on 4chan found it, which doesn't sound like, state-sponsored hacking.
no, not at all. And the simplicity is exactly what's so alarming. The core technical problem, it turns out, was that the app was apparently mostly written by AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and very poorly at that, according to the source, which immediately raises huge questions about the code quality, the security oversight, or the complete lack of it during development.
AI-written code. I mean, it can be fast, but...
But it can also miss things, right?
Yeah.
Introduce weird vulnerabilities, miss basic security practices that a human developer, hopefully with good review processes, would catch. Here, it looks like speed came at the cost of, well, fundamental security.
So what was the flaw itself?
It was shockingly basic. Every single bit of data, every single line of code, the entire app, user data, everything was stored on a storage bucket that was publicly accessible by anyone on the internet.
Wait, publicly accessible? You mean just open?
Completely open, no passwords, no authentication, nothing.
So you didn't need to hack anything?
Nope. All you had to do was have the URL, just the web address.
That is negligent on an unbelievable scale. It's like leaving the keys in the ignition with the doors unlocked and a sign saying, "Free car."
Pretty much, yeah. Like leaving your most sensitive files, the blueprints to your whole operation, plus all your customer data, just sitting on a public web server.
Unbelievable.
And the immediate fallout was exactly what you'd expect. Quite a few people rapidly ripped all of the content from this website. It wasn't a slow leak. It was a flood, a wholesale exfiltration of basically everything.
So the moment someone found that URL.
Game over. It
Uh-oh.
instantly became a privacy nightmare on a massive scale. And the fact that it was likely down to poorly coded AI that highlights a really dangerous trend. Speed and automation taking priority over basic security, especially with super sensitive personal data. It's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so let's get into Section 3. The alarming scope of leaked data. What exactly got out? It sounds like it went way beyond just gossip posts. You mentioned the user registration data was where things got really bad.
That's absolutely right. The registration data is, well, it's the core of the deepest problem here. Remember we said it was women-only accounts.
Right, they had to verify.
Exactly. The way they verified gender was users had to either upload a selfie or scan their driver's license.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the core violation is that all of this verification data, the raw selfies, the scans of driver's licenses, it was all in that publicly accessible bucket. It all got leaked.
So actual photos of users?
Yeah.
And their licenses.
Direct, verifiable links to real people, often with incredibly specific identifying information right there on the license.
Which brings us to the ASIF data problem. This is something a lot of people still don't quite grasp, right? That photos taken on your phone can have GPS data embedded.
It's true. It's astonishing how many people aren't aware. When you take a photo with your smartphone, if location services are on for the camera, it embeds precise GPS coordinates right into the photo's metadata, AHIF data.
And most social media sites remove that.
Most reputable ones, yeah. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They usually strip the EXIF, that location info, before the photo goes public.
Yeah.
For privacy, for security. It's standard practice.
But not the P app.
Not the T app. Being, as the source says, a rather poorly coded app, maybe, they speculate. written in Tel Aviv or Mumbai, outsourced work. It did not strip any of this data.
So the raw selfies uploaded for registration.
It contained precise GPS location data, down to the exact spot where the photo was taken. A seemingly innocent selfie suddenly becomes a pin on a map.
Wow. Okay. And it gets worse with the driver's licenses.
It gets much worse, because if a user uploaded a photo of their driver's license instead of a selfie,
Okay.
well, first, that photo also carried GPS data from wherever they took the picture of the license. And second, the license itself contains their mailing address.
Oh, wow. So you can connect the dots.
Instantly, you can cross-reference the GPS coordinates from the photo metadata with the physical address printed right there on the license. You can potentially verify if someone was actually at their listed address when they took the photo or if they were somewhere else entirely.
That combination, photo, exact location, official address, that's devastating.
It is. It makes the leaked data not just personal, but highly actionable for anyone. A stalker, an angry ex, or a foreign intelligence agency. It turns online activity into a blueprint of physical movements and locations.
And it wasn't just the registration data, was it? The source said the code itself was online, too.
Pretty much. Not only were these photos of registrations online, but more or less the code for the app itself was online. It suggests a total system compromise. The whole digital architecture laid bare.
Which means?
It means every single thing, every single user posted is now on the internet. Think about that. Private messages, comments, posts, basically everything on this website is out there. All the gossip, the rumors, the unsubstantiated claims.
Private messages between users, too.
Everything. It's all exposed, unredacted.
Yeah.
Our source even speculates that, soon, if it's not already happening, there'll be a fully indexed, searchable database.
Oh, God.
Yeah, a database of all of the dudes that were slandered on this website, right alongside the women who slandered them, complete with their driver's licenses.
That's horrifying.
It is. And given how people reuse passwords, you have to assume there's a high risk of password leaks from this too, making things even worse. It's not just a data leak, it's a complete ecosystem collapse dumped online.
So with this scale of breach, this sensitivity, what did the company do? Surely they issued warnings, apologies, tried to contain it.
You would think so, right? That's standard procedure. But the company's reaction, or lack thereof, is honestly one of the most shocking parts. The T app basically just ghosted everyone.
Ghosted, as in just disappeared.
Pretty much. No warnings, no notifications to users saying, hey, your incredibly sensitive data, including your selfie and maybe your driver's license, is now public. No acknowledgement at all that the leak even happened.
They just pretended it wasn't happening.
Worse, they were unbelievably continuing to register new users, even after the breach was known and being actively discussed on places like 4chan.
That's beyond irresponsible. It's malicious negligence.
It really is.
Yeah.
It looks like the company, the developers, they just kind of walked away, just abandoned ship.
Why? Just to avoid the fallout.
That's the likely bet. Considering the very large lawsuits that are going to result from this, it seems probable they just cut their losses and vanished.
But the data is still out there.
Exactly. Their disappearance doesn't fix anything. It just means there is zero accountability from the people who created this mess, which leaves millions of users completely exposed with no recourse. It's a huge failure, exposes a massive gap where platforms handling ultra-sensitive data can just evaporate.
Okay, this is bad. Really bad. But now, Section 4, the unseen threat. Moving from social blunder to national security crisis. You said this is worse than something like the Ashley Madison leak. Why? Ashley Madison was also about secrets, affairs, highly damaging personal info.
You're right to make the comparison, but yes, I'd explicitly say this T-app situation is worse for national security. Yeah. Let's break it down. Okay. Ashley Madison involved, credit cards, emails, names, billing addresses, hugely embarrassing, ruined reputations, broke up marriages for sure. But that data mostly stayed in the dark web for a long time.
Harder to access for the average person.
Right. Less immediate public shaming potential, maybe. The focus was really on exposing illicit affairs, personal embarrassment primarily.
Okay, so how is T different?
The T-app leak involves raw selfies, precise GPS coordinates, public slander profiles, and because it was just sitting in an open bucket, it immediately started appearing on Google Maps. People were literally plotting the selfie locations.
Wow.
So this data breach is worse for national security because of the nature of the app itself and the nature of the data leaked and how easily accessible it was. It wasn't just documenting an affair. It was public, often fake, commentary tied to identity documents and exact locations. The key insight is how these disconnected digital crumbs, a selfie, a registration, suddenly become high-value intelligence when exposed like this.
So how do intelligence agencies use this? How does it become a national security crisis beyond just personal ruin?
Okay, this is where we really get down into the weeds, as the source says, and it's pretty stark. First, because the GPS data was there, everyone could very easily geo-reference all of the selfies in the data and plot it on a map. Immediate visual intel.
Okay, see where people are for war.
Exactly. Then intelligence agencies, foreign, domestic, whoever, can take those GPS coordinates and cross-reference them. With what? With mailing addresses from the licenses, with known residential patterns, maybe even voting records, publicly available data.
To verify location.
To verify as to whether or not a person was actually at the mailing address that they were supposed to be at. Or, more importantly, where they really were when they took that selfie or that picture of their license. You build a highly granular picture of movements, associations.
Can you give a concrete example? How would this play out in an intelligence scenario?
Sure. Let's take the sources scenario. A woman's having an affair. She gets angry at the guy, decides to use the T app to trash him, posts all sorts of really bad, damaging information, maybe calls him a cheater, tries to ruin his reputation online.
Okay.
Now, let's say when she registered for the app, she took her verification selfie, or maybe snapped a picture of her driver's license while she was at his apartment. Maybe she was upset there, who knows.
Right.
That geotagged photo, combined with her own driver's license address, which was also leaked, now potentially exposes her affair, her location at that specific time, and links her to that specific place.
Okay.
That kind of verified real-world connection is gold for building intelligence profiles, finding vulnerabilities, finding leverage.
And this gets really serious when those locations are sensitive. Military bases, government buildings.
Precisely. That's where the national security alarm bells go off loud and clear. The source specifically highlights this. Pins started popping up in the places where general officers are known to live.
Oh, wow. Not just random location.
No, targeted. More affluent parts of military bases around the country, or the neighborhoods right next to these sensitive government sites. And you can take it further, overlay this GPS data with, say, U.S. Census data for income.
To find who? People with money problems. Or just affluent people.
Potentially both. Find potentially unhappy people in very affluent areas, or maybe identify individuals under financial stress who live or work near sensitive locations. This ability to pinpoint and categorize people based on location, social connections, even toxic secret ones, and financial indicators. It's a treasure trove for intelligence targeting.
So it's the combination, who they are, where they were, potentially why they might be vulnerable.
Exactly. Which means, as the source bluntly puts it, every single intelligence agency in the world is just having a field day with this already. They look at this data dump and see the obvious espionage angle immediately.
How so?
Think about users who were, say, married to someone, but they had an account on this app secretly. Maybe their spouse didn't know. They're already living a double life. Now, what if these individuals also worked on or near a military base or some other secure facility?
Okay.
And what if they took those geo-referenced photographs from work or from their home nearby?
Yeah.
They instantly become identifiable potential targets. You can narrow it down to even more specific threat vectors.
For recruitment? Blackmail.
Absolutely. They are ripe targets for blackmail, espionage leverage from an international spying operation. The vulnerabilities created are absolutely limitless because the leaked data itself provides the verification and the pressure points. It's not theoretical. It's an open door for foreign intelligence services.
Which leads directly into Section 5, security clearances and the broader impact. How does a mess like this affect something as critical as U.S. security clearances?
It connects directly and fundamentally. For a few years now, the U.S. government, when it comes to social media, requires you to give over your social media accounts when you apply for a security clearance.
Right, I remember that coming in.
Yeah, it's not arbitrary. It's critical vetting. Because if the government's going to trust you with classified information, they would really appreciate knowing if you are engaging in behavior or posting content online that it's very likely to get you in a situation where you could be blackmailed. It's all about mitigating risk, finding vulnerabilities before they can be exploited.
It makes sense. It reminds me of older reasons why certain groups were historically barred from clearances, right? Even if the social views were wrong, the underlying security logic was about vulnerability.
Exactly. It's an uncomfortable parallel, but it illustrates the core principle. During the Cold War, openly gay or transgender individuals were often denied clearances. Now, the social reasoning was discriminatory and wrong, we know that now, But the national security rationale was that at that time, it was socially unacceptable, making them easily blackmailed by adversaries like the Soviet Union.
Exposure meant ruin, so they were vulnerable.
Right. The Soviets actively targeted them because exposure would destroy their careers, their lives. That created immense leverage. So while thankfully society progresses and that discrimination is rejected, the principle remains. Anything that makes someone susceptible to coercion, to blackmail, is a national security risk.
So applying that principle to the T app, what's the impact? Especially for the men who were just profiled on the app, maybe didn't even know it existed?
That's where it gets incredibly messy.
Hmm.
Now, potentially, a man can have a security clearance and a social media profile that is not even his. This is slanderous, maybe totally fake profile on the T app
Okay.
created by someone else. This person, completely unaware, has a social media presence containing damaging info, maybe true, maybe false, and it just got leaked to China and Russia. It's a gigantic mess for counterintelligence. How do you even vet for that?
Especially with zero accountability from the company. No way to even know for sure who was profiled.
Exactly. There's no official channel, no notification.
Yeah.
So foreign intel now has potential leverage, not just on the women who use the app, but on the men profiled within it, especially if those profiles contain fabricated sensitive info or linked to geodata showing them near secure sites. It bypasses all the standard checks. It's a huge, uncontrolled exposure.
And yet, the public view seems to be, oh, it's just gossip, some weird 4chan thing, like you said, just not taking it seriously.
And that underestimation is the biggest danger. Because if the public, and maybe even some agencies, dismiss it as just gossip or useless social stuff,
Yeah.
then maybe the agencies are not going to do it. They won't investigate the full national security threat properly.
So the real danger comes later.
That's the fear. When this whole thing gets forgotten about and everybody kind of moves on, because the news cycle is relentless, right? Some new crisis pops up. That's when the national intelligence agencies of pretty much every country on Earth who are going to look to exploit this will really dig in.
Because it's off the radar.
Exactly. It's a data breach in that sweet spot where people are not going to care about it long term. Perfect for quiet, sustained exploitation way after the headlines fade. It's the silent threat that festers.
Okay, beyond the direct national security risks for government folks, what about the wider impact? Economic, workplace? Because it sounds like this app was toxic even before the leak.
Oh, absolutely. It got its reputation because it was, quoting the source again, a pure, vindictive cesspool of rottenness. It enabled this kind of rumor-based social credit score for men.
You mentioned an example, poisoning the well.
Yeah, this scenario the source described, a woman wants to date a guy, maybe. So she goes on the T app and creates a fake negative profile about him. Gives him a 1-star Yelp rating, basically.
Yeah.
Says, this dude's horrible, stay away.
To scare off rivals.
Presumably. And then she secretly tries to date him herself. The guy has no idea that this was going on, but his reputation is being actively trashed online, affecting his social life, his dating prospects.
That's incredibly manipulative, and now that data is public.
Right. So that malicious content isn't hidden anymore. It's out there. And that moves beyond personal drama into the professional world very quickly.
How so?
Think about a Fortune 500 company. An employee has a grudge against their boss. Or maybe, like in the other example, wants to date them and sabotage a rival. They go on the T app, create a fake report full of lies about him to ward off potential people, fabricate misconduct, whatever.
Okay.
Now the data is leaked.
Mm-hmm.
People could potentially get fired because of the false rumors that are being perpetrated about them, even if those rumors were complete fiction created out of spite. That's direct career sabotage, real economic consequences.
And there was that anecdote about an HR manager. That sounds even worse.
Yeah, the source mentioned a claim, unverified but chilling if true, of one user identified as an HR manager at a large company. This person was allegedly using the T app to post negative social credit reviews about all of the men that she had interviewed for particular jobs.
Seriously? Like why they didn't get hired?
Allegedly, yeah. Exactly why she had fired them or refused to hire them. If true, that's not just gossip. It has profound implications for the economy, the workplace, using a secret vindictive platform to document hiring-firing decisions. Imagine the lawsuits if that became public knowledge.
It just shows how something like this spirals out, affects every part of someone's life.
It really does. Personal, professional, financial, and, as we've seen, potentially national security. It's a nightmare scenario, unfortunately playing out in real time.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all really mean? This deep dive, it shows how a data breach that looks, on the surface, like just social drama, especially with this kind of personal, geolocated data. can explode into a major national security threat. It touches everything from careers to, well, potentially geopolitics.
Yeah, and what's really striking is that disconnect, isn't it, between how the public might see it, social comeuppance, gossip, quick scandal, and the strategic reality underneath. The actual intelligence value of this data, especially when you combine it with other data sets, gives agencies this incredible long-term leverage, opportunities for exploitation that last way beyond the news cycle.
It really highlights how these digital crumbs we leave, even a selfie, can be weaponized.
Exactly. A seemingly harmless selfie through one single stupid vulnerability in a poorly coded app becomes high-value intel. Personal interactions get turned into tools for state-sponsored leverage.
It definitely raises a big question for you, our listener. We live these huge, detailed digital lives now.
Yeah.
How many other apps, maybe ones that seem totally harmless, could have similar vulnerabilities? Similar ticking time bombs, just waiting to be exploited because we're just not looking at them with the right security mindset.
Hmm.
This T app thing feels like a really stark warning. In this hyper-connected world, almost any app, any interaction, could be an intelligence factor if the security isn't there.
It's just one example, yeah. A very potent example of the complex, often hidden dangers in our digital world, where small online actions can have massive, lasting, real-world impacts that most people just don't foresee.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you a clearer, maybe more nuanced view of the forces at play here. We, Pi and Nick, we're here every day trying to process these information streams to bring you some clarity, some insight. Until our next deep dive, stay informed.